I think that this is a topic that, I mean, we have a lot of these. We've done this with legal too, that people, it's not the first thing that's on mind. But it is something that is extremely important. And something we haven't talked about is what the initial investment actually saves you in the long run. It is an expense up front.
It is.
But what are the expenses that it's saving you on in the future? Maybe you could talk about that. Maybe there's some examples of, you've seen it where a company didn't have the thing in place. They did have the lawsuit or the fine, and this is what, they had to pay this. I think that would be helpful for people to know.
Okay, a good example is a utilities company. They had a fatality several years ago, and so David and I went in and we did training for them.
Oh, training.
Trenching and shoring training, and to this day, the company, we still train for them, and they're huge. They've got a big workforce, and they do a lot of work, but safety is paramount with that company.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the negatives when you have injuries and you're not safe: no work, or hard to get work, insurance rates are high, and employees will leave if you're not working them. They're not going to stay there.
I mentioned before we started, I had a client here in Oklahoma who cleared rights of way, pipelines, power lines, railroad rights of way, sometimes highways and so on. And it's a tough business, can pay real well, but they had a accident problem, and their workers' comp rate was too high. And as a result of that, they couldn't work for 3 of the largest clients that they had. I mean, just about wiped them out.
Yep.
And the man investigated and actually did create another company saying, well, we'll shut that down. Well, that follows you.
Yeah.
You can't start it. Well, you can start another company and think you're going to get away with it, but they want to know joint owners and things, and they go back. So it didn't put them out of business, but it easily could have.
Yep.
And I don't know how long it took, 3 years to make that. I don't remember, but for that to wash out, that high rate.
Probably 3 years if they didn't have any
Anything
other
else?
occurrences.
Yeah.
It hurts you in a lot of different ways. And the main thing I want to make sure people understand: you don't want anybody to get hurt.
Yeah, that's the primary.
You don't want someone to get hurt. You want them to be able to continue to work. And some injuries, they cause you to go on disability. Those things happen. And so that should be, what we think about up front. Number one, let's don't get anybody hurt. And we have to focus that way. And it's real simple. How do we do that? Well, we have to train them on the job we want them to do.
Yeah.
That's our responsibility. The general clause in OSHA, right at the very front, it says employers will make work conditions safe for their employees. And if they can't get you anywhere else, they can come and get you on that. But then the second part of that is the employees will work safely. I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
But
Sure.
employees will work safely, but they can only work safely if we train them how to work safely.
Right.
Yeah, and give them the environment to do so.
One thing we talk about recurring, we've said this sounds expensive, and it is, but we've shown by hiring an advisor and doing it piecemeal, it's not prohibitively expensive, and you have to do it anyway. But the other thing is you have to bid this stuff. If you're lowballing bids, which we talk about all the time, trying to get the work, and you don't have it in there, you will cut corners. You will. Well, we don't have time to do that. What do you mean to spend 45 minutes every morning with 12 guys around a pickup? I can't afford that. Excuse me. Can't afford that. So that's just a message. You have to bid that way. If you're a contractor, this is part of it. And if you're ignoring it, it will catch up to you. Either somebody gets hurt or the inspector walks in and wants to see your Form 300 and you say, my what?
Yeah.
Get off my property. You can't come on here. Well, yeah, I can.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
You had mentioned an audit. You've actually mentioned it a couple of different times. What does an audit look like? I think that there are contractors out there that are worried about an OSHA audit.
Yep.
How does that come about? What do you need to have prepared? Just kind of give us the rundown.
Sometimes you'll get a warning if there's going to be an audit. sometimes not. One way it happens is employee complaints. You have when you go to that OSHA website, OSHA.gov, there is also directions on how to file a complaint. And no retaliation against that person is allowed either. That's one way.
Wow.
And probably one of the most common ways that an audit will occur.
Okay. Do you get warning on that one, or still
Sometimes
you don't know?
you
Okay.
might, you might not.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to say for the most part, you're going to get warned that there's going to be an audit most of the time, but they can come in without.
Unprompted, yeah.
And then during the audit, they're going to ask for a lot of information. Have the folks been trained?
Where's
And
your
if so,
evidence of
let
that?
me see it. I want to see the sign-in sheets. I want to see the tests, or how you conveyed the information to them, that sort of thing. Because whatever you put out there, they have to be able to give you information back, right?
Yeah.
So typically, that's how we do a test. They're going to ask to see your OSHA 300. They're going to do you have procedures in place? And if so, let's see those procedures.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things, and what you want to do is let them ask you. Don't you offer, just let them ask you, and then you can go from there. But they're going to find something if there's an audit. I'll say that. They may not find you initially. Maybe like the company I spoke about earlier, where the ODEQ came in different from OSHA. But environmental has got a lot of stroke, and if you comply with the recommendations they made and that sort of thing, put the effort out there, they're usually going to work with you on that. Where it really gets sticky is if it's ongoing, if it's happened once, twice, 3 times, and you haven't fixed what's causing it, then you can get ready for some fines and stuff.
Do those fines impact your insurance rates as well?
They impact your pocketbook bottom line.
Sure.
The fines won't, but if you
The
have
incident will. Yeah.
the incident will.
Is it only
yeah.
incident? I just didn't know if it was only incidents
Yeah.
that were gonna
Yeah.
cause your insurance
But-
to go up, or if they find something in the audit, oh, now your insurance goes up.
Yeah.
So
That'll be all based on the injury rate and stuff.
gotcha. Okay.
You know, you bring that up at the company where I worked with you, insurance guys. Some insurance companies will come in and help you
They
design
will. They will.
a safety program.
Sure will.
And
They
if
sure
you get
will.
good people there, so there are a lot of resources.
Yeah.
Um,
And you know, I would say to the folks out there, just make some calls. Don't think it's going to be crazy, outrageous.
yeah,
and that
don't
sort of thing.
self-deselect.
Yeah.
Go find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just make some calls, call some folks, and see. Let them know what you need, what you're thinking, and work with them that way.
Yeah.
The benefits are so good.
Yeah.
You know, again, I can't stress enough. Number one, if we get our workforce to work safe, they're all going to go home at the end of the day, and that's what we want. Production is better. OSHA injury log, or we have less injuries, so chances for more jobs, that sort of thing. Insurance rates down. There's so many benefits to a safe workforce.
You know, it just came to mind that there are people who cannot be safe, and they need to not work for you.
That's true.
I had a guy
That's
named
true.
Dutch when I ran grain elevators in Nebraska, and that guy, he would fall down standing on the, I mean, I can't describe it, but I'll tell you guys afterwards. Stupidest thing. Well, I will. We had a sheet metal building that had a hole in it. So one guy went on one side and held a sledgehammer against it, and the other guy bent that over and tapped the to close the hole, take the
Yeah.
little flap and close it.
Yeah.
Dutch had he's up 15 feet on a ladder, and he had the sledgehammer in front of his face. And the guy tapped it, and it's like those balls, where click, click.
Yeah.
It goes, hits him in the head. The ladder, I mean, it wasn't funny at the time. He came to the office just covered with blood. The ladder slid down the side of this building, and he crashed, I go, really? Really? Do I need to put that as do not hold the hammer in front of your face when somebody's going to tap on it? But anyway, I finally had to let him go. Literally, I don't know why that is, but I've known other people like that. But
Yes, there are
cannot work safely.
there are folks
Cannot.
out there. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if it's lack of awareness or what it is, but
It's a good interview question. Have you been in any incidents,
yeah,
Yeah.
safety wise?
yeah. Are you really stupid when it comes to safety?